Sandra, welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and as always, I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. So subscribe and hit the bell icon right now. So, have you ever been in a situation where you've split up with someone, it didn't end well, and you're thinking of your ex and you're thinking about the good times you had together and you're lingering on those, and you want to know, should you really be thinking and focusing on the good times that you had together? And is this a good idea to do this? Is this ever a good idea to think about the good times you had with an ex? Or is this just simply a bad idea that you should avoid at all costs? If this sounds like something you're interested in knowing more about, then stay tuned, because this is what we're going to discuss in this episode. So, if you don't know who I am, Sandra Bellamy, author of Diary Confessions of a Hyperromantic Asexual and Asexual Perspectives. These are both bestsellers on Amazon. So, yes, if you've ever been subjected to heartache and heartbreak and say that relationship didn't end well, should you be thinking about your ex and the good times you had? And if so, when would be a good time to think about it and why? And when would be a really bad time to think about it? Always? Not necessarily. So, there are benefits to actually thinking about the good times you had with your ex, but there are also downsides to it as well. So, if we address some of the benefits, because this might shock you that there's even any benefits of thinking of the good times with your ex, listen up. So, when you are thinking about the good times with your ex, it's important to use it as a reflective exercise only for your own benefit, right? Let me repeat that. It's important, if you think about the good times with your ex, you're using it only for the reflection, which is going to be to your own benefit. This is really important, right? First of all, the dangers of thinking about the good times with your ex is that you focus on the good times and you forget how they treated you or mistreated you. If they've mistreated you, not every relationship ends badly, not every person is bad, and not every relationship doesn't end amicably, right? But however the relationship ended, there was a specific reason as to why it ended, whether it ended with them ending it or you ending it, or it was mutual. Someone or both people, more if you're polyamorous, ended that relationship. When I say more if you're polyamorous, obviously if you're in a relationship with more than one person, it could just be one person that ended it amongst a group of you. But if we suppose that person's monogamous, right? One of you or both of you will have ended that relationship for whatever reason. And this is important. For whatever reason, there was a reason why it ended. So reminiscing constantly about the good times you had and focusing on those and thinking, why aren't you with that person still now, is not going to help you get over them and move on. It's not. So reminiscing for reflection is okay, but reminiscing as in ruminating and thinking, oh, this person was so good, we were laughing together, we were joking together, I thought I'd be with them forever. Of course you can think these things, but if you're focusing on all the good stuff, you're missing the point of why you split up. If things were that great between you, you wouldn't have split up. So you might have had a lot of good times, right? But there's something that caused one or both of you to split up. It might be that you lost attraction for that person, which is really sad if that happened. So you might have got on really well, but it might have become more like a brother and sister relationship. That can happen. But there's still that reason that you split up. That person or you could have tried to discover amongst each other and explore ways in which you could grow the attraction possibly again. Maybe you did that, maybe you didn't. But after you've been in a relationship a long time with someone, some people can lose attraction for that person. And there's ways that you can rekindle that. You can go to couple counseling for advice about that. But there are ways you can rekindle that by the way you look, by going out on dates, by the time you spend with each other, by recognizing why you fell in love with that person in the first place, by doing the things you're not doing anymore that they loved about you, that you probably have not done for a while with them, and maybe vice versa. There's lots of reasons why traction can be lost, but it requires teamwork for both people to be able to get that back on track. And if one person just feels it's one-sided and they're telling the other person the needs, and like, I was really attracted to you when you did this, 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 and this, but the other person's not actually going, oh, okay, that person's really attracted to me when I did this, and I can still do that. I'm happy and comfortable to do that. Let's go for it again. And then they focus on doing that. But if you've had that conversation and maybe that person tried to rekindle what they had with you, but they just momentum got lost along the way, and it just didn't work for them. They just couldn't keep up that, because they're not that person anymore, because some people move on, people change, looks can change. But if their looks have changed in such a way they're not attracted to them anymore, then unless they're going to change their look again, which they might be happy with their look now, then that's not going to work either. So there can be a number of reasons why you might have split up, and it might have been a good times you had with them, but it still was a split up, right? There's still a reason why you two are not together anymore. And you need to reflect on that. If it was a really good relationship, you need to reflect on the reasons why you split up. Because maybe you didn't talk enough about why you split up. Maybe all the good times is what you can see, and you can't realize the underlying problems was that maybe you didn't communicate enough. Maybe you didn't communicate your needs enough, or maybe you didn't pay attention to the other person enough. Maybe work got in the way. Something happened to change. Cause and effect. So you have to reflect on these things, right? And if you just focus in whatever case scenario of how you split, whether it's a good relationship or ended badly, if you just focus on the good times, this is very dangerous, because you're not dealing with the reality of the situation that you two are no longer together. And you might still be pining for years after that person, unless you come to the realization it wasn't a perfect relationship. There were good times, but it wasn't overall good if it's ended. The ending of it is not a good thing for you if you really love that person and you were into that person. So say you thought you had the most amazing, fabulous relationship with that person, but it ended. It can't have been that fabulous if in the very end it ended. It ended for a reason. And often relationships end because of built up resentment and built up feelings and unmet needs and everything like that both people didn't end up exploring and talking about. Or if they did try to talk to the other person, maybe the person tried for a while and then went back to their old ways. So you've got to understand that it ended, right? Which might have been an end for your own good. In which case, that's a reflection to focus on the end is for your own good. And now you need to start the good life on your own without them, because it's for your own good. This is a time when you can think a relationship ending is a good thing. And you can reflect on that as being a good time, rather than the heartache and heartbreak and pain it brought you. But it brought you heartache and heartbreak and pain to make you have a good time in your own life again, after you've got over all that grief and you've gone through a healing process. So if a relationship ended badly and you left on terms where you're not speaking to each other anymore, I personally think if it didn't end well anyway, and in the majority of cases, you should be blocking that person out of your life. Because even if you love that person implicitly, and maybe that person's not a bad person, maybe it didn't end in a bad way, but if you are pining after that person all the time, you cannot fully open your heart up to someone new when the old person is still in it. And by keeping that contact with that person, by keeping that connection with the person, you're keeping the flames of love alive from your end to theirs. Whether they love you back or not, you're keeping the attraction going. You're keeping the love going. Does that mean to say that these people and your exes are not spying on you on social media? No, it doesn't. I know that a lot of the exes, or well, I wouldn't call them exes. I know I shouldn't say that. I know that a lot of guys who've dated me, I think there's some exes actually in there as well. They still are subscribed to this channel. They're hidden users. I don't know every one of them because I don't know all their usernames, and I don't go into looking at their social media on YouTube to find out what their username is and if they're following me or not, right? That's their business. If they want to still follow me, I would say heed my advice, but they probably won't, because if I had a date with someone, for example, who was a liar, and there's a couple of people who are hidden users. Well, there's more. There's at least 3, I think, that are guys I got involved with that I know of. That is hidden user 4, maybe, on this channel. I think 3 of them probably still watch me, and you know, they don't follow my advice anyway. They just probably like looking at me and seeing what I'm up to, which is fine if they want to do that. I wish they'd take my advice, but they won't. So I doubt very much, because as far as I know, they're still not honest, right? And they're still having the same problems. So we must leave them to themselves, right? If they want to watch me, inspire me, whatever they want to do, hello to you, sending you lots of love, but not love that's going to be in a relationship or dating scenario with you again. And I shouldn't even be sending out any love, considering that they didn't treat me very well. But I just think people need love, and if people haven't treated me well, then they've got some real big issues and problems of their own to work on. And we all have flaws. We're all trying to like get by in this world, but some of us are doing it authentically and some of us are doing it inauthentically. So anyway, getting back to, should you think about the good times with your ex or not, and when is it a good time to? So it's a good time to think about the good times with your ex, to use, like I said, as a reflective exercise. And you can use this only for reflection in a good way. So first of all, we have to understand that the mind usually, when you've gone through heartache and heartbreak or going through it, the mind usually focuses on the good about the person, not the the love story, the romantic part, the pedestal part, where you put that person on a pedestal and you're like, oh my god, they were everything to me, I loved them so much, I was super attracted to them, I love spending time with them, they're a big part of my life, and now they're gone and it's missing, something's missing, what's gone on, blah blah blah. And you think about the good times, you think about their smile, and you think about the times you laughed and joked together, you think about the time you spent together, where you went together, and you had some good times. Even if you've been in a relationship with a narcissist or an abusive person, there can still be good times with those people that you've been in a relationship with, even though they're like that, because there are going to be times when they're not necessarily like that all the time. They may have been, but there's going to be some times when they're charming, right? A narcissist or abusive person is very charismatic, often very charming, right? There's going to be times when they showered you with compliments. Maybe they showered you with gifts. Maybe they did something special for you to show off to you, especially when they were trying to get you in the beginning, right? So they created a good time for you. They created the most amazing date, or most amazing time, most amazing few hours for you, right? So there's going to be some good times, even with people who are not good people, if you like, right? They've chosen the dark side. They've chosen to have bad character traits. Or they have bad character traits, and instead of changing those, they've kept them, right? And I wouldn't say they've necessarily gone around choosing them. Probably they've had a lot of trauma in their life that's meant that they've developed ways of coping that's meant that some of the things they do is not good for other people, and it's probably self-destructive and self-sabotaging. So they need to work on them. But if they are not accepting the fact they have flaws and going to do something about it, then you know what I mean, that they're allowing that to keep happening and their behavior to keep affecting people. So that's for them to sort out. So we need to only think about good times as a reflective exercise when it's going to help us. So for example, you can take some comfort in the fact that if you did stay with that person who wasn't good to you in the end, who the relationship ended badly with, you can take some comfort in the fact of one of the reasons you might have stayed with them was for the good times. And so because your mind focused automatically on the good times with them, that's why accepted the things that weren't very acceptable or shouldn't have been acceptable. That's why you accepted the bad behavior, because you're like, oh, but this person I have so much laughs with, this person we're very physically attracted to each other, the physical component of our relationship's good. Or maybe you have certain hobbies that you do together. Maybe you go to pottery class together and you're like, oh, but we have such good times when we go to this class together. We've made like group friends together. And maybe it's like a lot of situations, or one or two situations where they're just so good. And you love that atmosphere of that situation and the senses it created for you. You know, maybe you love the smell and the taste of the place you went to together, and you used to go on a regular date to a place, and maybe it just like made you feel awesome, right? And so when a person creates things with the senses, smell, sight, sound, and everything like this, it automatically makes you feel kind of euphoric. When it's got your senses going, it automatically instills things in you, because it's activating your feelings and emotions together, and it's making you feel something. In a world which is kind of in chaos a lot of the time, and a lot of the news is about murder, death, rape, and there's a lot of doom and gloom. If you focus on that, I don't focus on that, but if you do, when you've got someone who's making you feel great in those moments, it's like fireworks going off. It's like a unique experience, and it is like a drug. It's dopamine hits. And so therefore you kind of think, wow, this is incredible. In a world that's kind of like doomy and gloomy, I'm having this amazing, incredible experience that's just setting off my emotions and my feelings, and it's just so good. And so therefore it feels fantastic, right? If you think about I don't know how to describe it, but if you think about, you go into a shop, right? And you can't eat licorice all sorts, and it's a licorice all sorts shop, right? And you go into this place with licorice all sorts, but you can't eat licorice all sorts. And then all of a sudden, you find like a Battenberg cake or something in the middle of the licorice all sorts, and you're like, oh my god, they've got a piece of Battenberg cake. Why is that? And I love the fact it's got pink and yellow and marzipan. It's contrasting. And maybe it's at the desk of the person who's in this shop, and they got this Battenberg cake, and they got a special offer on Battenberg cakes. But the problem is you have to buy the licorice all sorts as well, the thing you don't like, and you get the thing you don't like, but this big piece of Battenberg cake staring you in the eye like, oh, I'll buy some licorice all sorts. I'll just put out the licorice all sorts to get this great big piece of Battenberg cake, because it looks so tasty and gorgeous, and I just want to eat it. Do you see what I mean? Daria, the past must remain in the past. Otherwise, there is not enough space for the present and your future. Game over. Very good point, Daria. I know where you're coming from. However, as I was saying, I think it's important to look at the past as a reflective exercise, because this is how we improve ourselves. And also, we can look at the good times you had with them as a reflection of you in some ways. So, hear me out on this one. So, things didn't end well with my recent ex, right? But there are things he said about me that were good. There was things that weren't good that he said to me, and ways he didn't make me feel good about myself in the end. But if I actually go back to the good times in the beginning, he, for example, said to me, "You're more beautiful in person or in real life than you are in your photographs." Now, that is a good time to me, because he said something good about me. So if we use the past to reflect on the good things they said about you, obviously they could be lying, right? But I want you to think about when you've heard another person, or more than just one person, say that about you as well. So if you've had not just that person say it about you, but other people as well, you can use it to think, aha, that is a good thing about me. So actually, it's not really a good time, as in sense the with them, as in you're focused on them. You're actually focusing on what they said about you and you being good. So I had a Pakistani friend, and years ago he said that same thing to me, and he was married. So he doesn't have to say that to me. There's no reason for him to, like, he's got a woman. He's not with me, he's got a woman. But he said to me when he met me, because we met up, because he used to work in my old job. He's moved back to Pakistan. He's got a wife, like I said, but he's got a kid with her. And at the time, I don't think they had the kid. I don't know if she was expecting a baby, but they didn't have a kid at that point. And so when he met up with me, he's like, "Oh, you're even more beautiful in real life than you are in your photograph." So because some other guy said it, who, he was very faithful to his wife, even though he was seeing me as a friend, and he said that to me. He was very loyal. He wouldn't go and have an affair with someone. Then, I know that that is likely true because someone else said it about me. I know he said that he liked my kind and caring nature. That's actually one of the things he said to me before we split up, the weekend before we split up. And because I've had other people say that about me, then I believe it's true. So if we use the looking back as a reflective exercise to put the focus on yourself and how good you were in that relationship and the good things about you, especially if they made you feel in the end that you weren't a good person or that you were at fault. If you actually play back in your mind the things that were good about you in that relationship, the things that you did that were good, that can be helpful. But if you're focusing on the good times with them, as in they were the one who created the good times, they're also good, their smile's good, their physique's good, they're brilliant, you're putting them on a pedestal still, and you'll be pining after them. So it's not a good thing to think about that, right? It's not. And if I take another ex and think about another ex, right, that I wasn't with very long, back in 2017, I think it was. No, 2019. He was a British guy, right? And he wasn't good. I mean, at the time, I didn't realize he was messaging my friend as well as me, being in a relationship with me. And I met him through my friend at the time. And since we split up, he went on my business pages and was messaging me when he had another girlfriend. So you can tell this guy isn't good. But in the relationship, he used to share these videos on his Facebook all the time. He was heterosexual, not asexual. But if I remember that, that was a good time that he used to do that without even being asked. So if there's a guy who doesn't even support me nowadays in this channel and what I do to help asexuals, but I had a guy in my past that did that who wasn't asexual, there's no reason why a guy can't do that. It's an option that some guys will do that. There's some guys are happy to do that without being asked. So if I think about that as a good thing, then it is a good thing. If I think about the guys that have dated me that do find me really attractive, then I'm focusing on a reflection about the good times, but involving me because I was the one who was good looking. I mean, I'm not saying they weren't. I wouldn't have been they were good looking to me at the time. But if I focus on the things that were positive about me, then I can take positive stuff from those good times about me. Also, we do need to reflect on our past and understand that even if those people we did have good times together, if they were abusive or manipulative or narcissistic, then we need to understand what went on for them to like seduce us with the good times to accept the bad behavior and stay with them that long. So we need to use it as a reflective exercise to say, hang on a minute, what were the red flags that I ignored? What did the good times with that person cover up? What bad times did they cover up? What abuse did they cover up? What charmingness did they use on me to actually sway me over to then think they were the love of my life, to then accept the bad behavior, right? What were they things they did? So you've got to use it as a reflective exercise, right? Because abusive people do give you good times. They can give you spurts of good times. My last long-term ex, we parted from each other, I should say, in 2011. He split with me, which I was glad about, right? And you know, there were in the very end, there wasn't that much good times with him. But if I think about the things he did, he used to use something called gift therapy on me because he knew that I love gifts. But obviously, he was using that in the end to say sorry when he wasn't really sorry, to get back in my good books or to keep us together. He was kind of bribing me with gifts, right? So if I look back at the good times with him, some of those good times were a form of manipulation to keep me under control, to stay with him, because he used the good times to pit against the bad times to make him still attractive towards me. So when we use looking at the good times as a reflective exercise, and we don't just think, oh, that was a good time I had with him, we actually use it to our own advantage to reflect, like, hang on a minute, this person was abusive, narcissistic, manipulative. If they were, we're talking about in the case they are or were. And what were the good times they gave me that boosted my serotonin, if you like, dopamine, adrenaline up so much that I still allowed them to stay with me in the abusive relationship because the good times were so good. Because if you recognize patterns of these behaviors in guys, it should help you in the future to recognize when that's happening again. So that you can think, this person has got these, for example, bad character traits. They're not the character traits I want. These values I don't appreciate. They're not the same values as me. This is not good. But they're doing this, 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 and this. If we can recognize the good things they're doing, and in situations like where you've had abuse and narcissistic manipulation, all this type of thing, then you can start to see patterns of what they're doing, which is bad, versus what they're doing, which is good for you. So that you're more aware, more self-aware in a future relationship and in future dating scenarios of what the persons or people might be doing to sway you to stay with them. Because a lot of abusers, narcissists, and manipulators, they will make some things so good that it's hard to let them go. They'll make the good times that exponentially great so that you don't leave them. They'll make, they'll make something happen, some chemical reaction in you to keep you hooked on them. So it's important that we sober up and we understand the reality of a situation, that good times might have come at a cost with them. Good times might have come at a high price with them. Not every guy who ends up having some narcissistic traits necessarily directly intended to go and say, oh, I'm going to get into a relationship with this person, I'm really going to hurt this person, I'm going to manipulate them, I'm going to be bad to them. Not every person or every person, I was going to say, or every guy ends up being like that. Some people, they just don't have relationship experience, and they haven't got a sense of what's right and wrong in a relationship like they should have, and they haven't got much self-awareness, and so they might be giving you good times until they're not feeling good in the relationship. Instead of coming to you and actually talking to you about their needs and what's not working for them and how you can both see a way forward together, they're then changing their behavior to not be good towards you. And they're shutting down and they're avoiding you and all this type of thing, which is, avoidant behavior is not good. So we need to be using this reflection as a time to help us in our future relationships and our future connections. And we need to see good times for what they are, mixed with the bad times. But in order to get over someone, a lot of the time you do have to focus, if you're going to focus on things, the things that weren't good with that person, the reasons why you're not together anymore. Because when you stack the reasons of why you're not together and why you should never be together with that person, you're far more likely to be able to move on and move on quicker than you are if you're still holding on to, oh, that person gave me such a good time, what went wrong, blah, blah, blah. But it is natural when you split up with someone for the mind to automatically think of the good times of that person, automatically think of their smile, the attraction you felt, the good times you had, the times you laughed and joked, the places you went, the things you did. It's a natural part of the mind. We focus on that and we don't see the blind spots. We don't see the things that weren't good about them with us, right? So we should only be using it as a reflective exercise. And we should be saying there were good times with that person, but at what cost in the end? And if you had stayed with that person just for the good times, you would still be miserable, because you shouldn't just be holding on to a relationship and person for the good times. You should be seeing a relationship for the reality of what it is, because we do need to grieve and we do need to heal ourselves. If the relationship especially ended up traumatically, in a difficult way, if there was any manipulation involved, put downs, belittlement, all this type of thing, right? We need to understand ourselves better so that we can become better for the next person we'll date or be in a relationship possibly with, right? So Daria is right. The past must remain in the past. Otherwise, there's not enough space for the present and the future. However, some people are so quick to move on that they don't actually heal. And the danger is, what happens is people just go from relationship to relationship. I hold my hands up. I used to be this type of person. They go from relationship to relationship because the pain of dealing with what actually happened in that past relationship is too hurtful. And they want to automatically be loved and felt attractive again by someone else straight away. But the danger of that is you could end up with someone else who's not right for you, who ends up controlling you, who you partly because you put on a pedestal, and you take your past relationship to a future. I mean, even in my last relationship, there were things that my ex was bringing from his previous relationship, like the fact he didn't want to tell his mum about me and him because he was worried, because he told his mum with the last girl he was going to marry her, and it caused a lot of, he had to explain that that wasn't going to happen. But that's not a good thing that he brought that to our relationship, because hiding me from his mother makes me automatically think, well, you're not as invested in me as you said you were. If you actually think we've got a future together, why wouldn't you tell your mum about us? Why would you, even if you just say I'm dating a girl? You know what I mean? You don't have to go into detail. That was a really bad thing. So I wouldn't say he was completely over his ex before he came to have a relationship with me. You see, and that's not a good thing if someone is taking that to the next relationship. So you've got to use the reflection to learn from, to grow from. And it's okay to admit that you had some good times with that person, but it's not okay if you just focus on that and it makes you pine after the person. Remember the good things they said about you. Remember the good things they did for you, in the sense that you're damn well worth it. But recognize all the things they didn't do that was good, that was hurting you. The things that they weren't sensitive or empathetic about. The things they weren't caring about. How they made you feel in the end. If they made you feel not good in the end about yourself and your life, that wasn't a good relationship for you. And that's the reality of the situation, rather than the romantic picture that you had once with that person. Right? Not everyone's all bad, right? There's people that have good character traits and bad character traits. Unfortunately, some bad character traits far outweigh the good character traits for some people. Or some people are just doing things for their own means, to get something from another person. Unfortunately, to feed their ego, to make them feel like a god or goddess, to put themselves on a pedestal, to think I'm the person, I'm like a sex or love god, you know what I mean? This is what some people do, unfortunately, and you get caught in the crossfire. Right? So we have to understand that we only think about the good times with an ex as a means to reflect on what is possible in terms of good stuff for us, with the reality of what came with that good stuff, so that we can watch out for that type of thing again in a future relationship. You deserve goodness. You deserve to be treated well. And if that person was being good with you in the beginning and you didn't change, they did, then they were likely lying and falsifying things, or just doing things to please you, impress you, and put you under a false sense of security so they've got you where they want you. However, we have to still think there was some attraction there to us in the first place. Some attraction, whatever that was. Maybe it was a narcissistic person you got involved with. Narcissists are usually prey on people that are empathetic and sympathetic and kind, caring, and sensitive. If that's the case, yes, it's not good they preyed on you, but being empathetic and sensitive is a good thing. Being kind and caring is a good thing. They might have preyed on you, which is a bad thing, but it's because you have good character traits that they went for you in the first place, right? So you have to look at it as a reflection of good things about you, even if they didn't treat you well. It's not about your lack of self-worth. It's about them not respecting you and them having actually a poor sense of self-worth that they have to use you to feed their own ego and to make themselves look good and be that important because they can't do it for themselves, right? So you have to understand that you were goodness in their life and they lost you. They lost a gem, as Liam usually says to me on this channel when a guy leaves my life. They lost a gem in you, Sandra. So you have to understand there's good qualities about you. And you contributed to those good times. That wasn't all on them. You might be thinking when you split with them, oh my God, I had such great times. And a lot of the time we focus on them and like they're the ones who gave us the good time. And we completely forget about us. We forget about ourselves in that scenario. We forget that we were in that scenario. We were in that situation. We were helping to make that time good. It wasn't just them doing that to us. It was us reciprocating back. It was us laughing back. It was us joking back. It was us being our gorgeous, beautiful selves. It was us being kind, us being caring. It was us. It was the love we were pouring out into them. It was the pride we had at that time that we were giving them and putting into them. It was us. And we don't see this when we split up with a person. We scramble in our heads going, why did this happen? I lost the love of my life. This person was so good. Were they? Were they really that good? And there's two people. There's you and them. So if it was a good time, it's not just them. It's you that gave that good time too. And they are going to miss that with you. However much they might think about stuff that's not great about you, and they might put you down in their head and whatever other they do, they too will think about the good times with you. And they too will probably miss you, even if it was their choice to leave you, or they were going to leave you and you did the honors of leaving first, They will miss you because they were like, oh my God, especially if you are kind and caring, especially if you praise them a lot, especially if you were their crutch, which not a lot of people want to admit. If you were their crutch, they're going to feel it deeply inside of them. A part of them is going to miss you. However much they cover it up, however much they move on quickly to a new person, there's going to be a tiny little bit inside of them that maybe they're avoiding and covering up that's going to miss you. They're going to miss you if you said how good looking they are. They're going to miss you if you held their hand like they're a god. They're going to miss you if you said how beautiful their body is. They're going to miss you when they're feeling sad and lonely and they've got no friend around them. They're going to miss holding you. They're going to miss the warmth of you. So when you're reflecting on the good times, don't put all your time, energy, effort into thinking they were the ones who gave that good time. I am guilty of doing this myself. And when I realized, what the F? Sandra, you were part of that good time. Had you not laughed back at what they were saying, had you not smiled at them with your warm, beautiful smile, had you not been focusing on them, that good time wouldn't have been a good time. If they were making a joke and you didn't laugh at their joke, that wouldn't have been a good time for them. If you hadn't been giving you a warm, beautiful smile with your gorgeous eyes and your beautiful hair looking pretty, that wouldn't have been a good time for them. So we need to stop focusing on the good times, just being with that ex and that ex causing that good times. We have to take self-worth and self-pride, knowing that we contributed to that good time. that without us, that good time would never have existed because they were with us in that time. And that time is precious. You can never get that time back, and neither can they. So if you were bigging them up, if you were saying you love them, if you were pouring your love into them, if you were prioritizing them, if you were giving them time, if you were being really good, you are a huge part of that good time. And you should feel good about yourself for that. We need to stop focusing on the good times just being because we were with that ex, and start thinking, hell yeah, why was it a good time? Because I was there with them. I was loving them. I was pouring my heart with love to them. I was looking into their eyes. I was saying how beautiful they are. I was laughing with them. I was joking with them. I spent my quality time with them. Maybe they don't have many friends, and you were the one who was there for them. Maybe usually they don't go out very much, but you ignited the spark within them and excitement to go out. When they were with you, they felt like, my gosh, I've got the world in my hands. I've got this beautiful person by my side, and you know, it just feels so good to be out with that person. It feels so good to say I'm with someone. I've got a special someone. It feels amazing. You were part of that. You need to recognize your worth. You need to recognize what beauty you brought to that relationship. Because I bet you never thought about this that way. I bet you, when you thought about, should I remember the good times for the next, you automatically diverted your mind and attention to your ex making that a good time for you. Because we don't think about this, do we? We do not think, wow, it was me who helped to create that good time. Could even be you that instigated that good time. When I was with my last long-term ex, 2011, split up with him, I used to take him on holiday. I used to pay for a trip for his birthday. I was earning a lot of money then. I was a manager earning a lot of money. And well, I say a lot. I wouldn't say, you know, compared to like the salary these days, it probably wasn't. But you know, at that time, and I did have to save up. It wasn't like I'd instantly got all the money. But my point is I spent a lot of money on him. I mean, I'm talking at that time, like one time I took him to Blackpool Pleasure Beach. I think it cost me £1,000 at that time. I don't spend that much money on guys these days. I've learnt my lesson in terms of like, yeah, you don't want to be spending tons of money. I don't have that sort of disposable money, right? But back then when I was a manager and I was earning good money and my bills weren't that much, right? I spent about £1,000, I think it was, on my ex. This is going back a lot of years. Like I said, we split up in 2011. And I took him to Blackpool. I paid for us to play on the pleasure beach, if you like. I paid for us to go to that, right? It was me who helped to create that good time with him. It was me who paid for the hotel, paid for the pleasure beach, paid for all that for him for his birthday. And I used to get him gifts as well. Right? I helped make that a good time. Without me, he wouldn't have had that great time. Right? So you have to understand that the good times are not all about your ex. They're about you. You were the one who helped to make that a good time. And if you're the one who paid for everything for the person and you got them presents, you made them feel special, you paid to play for them, you know what I mean? You're the one who instigated that. You created that. My God. You know what I mean? Look at what he's missing now. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to switch your mind around from thinking the good times was all about your ex and start thinking, how did I create that good time for the person? Why did they enjoy it with me? What was good about me in that moment? What was I proud of being in that moment? What did I have within me at that moment that made me such a great good time for that person? Because then we can start using the past as a way to see how good we are instead of seeing just how good they were or how amazing they were. We can start seeing and valuing our worth more. So this is why it's good when you think of the good times as a reflective exercise in this way, without holding on to that person, because you can start seeing your self-worth. This can push your self-esteem up and your self-confidence. That, damn, I'm a good catch. If I go with another person into a relationship or dating scenario, just think of the good times I create for that person. I know even though the last relationship didn't end good. I know, for example, you know, like even in dating, like I dated 4 guys on Facebook dating, right? Well, sorry, I was in a relationship with the last guy, 3 other guys I dated on Facebook dating. All the guys I met through Facebook dating, I met my last ex through Facebook dating. They all lied, right? Which isn't good. You can't be in a relationship and stay in a relationship with a liar because you can't trust them. Without trust, there is no healthy relationship, right? But if we think about it, like what made that person have a good time with me? The first person, right, that I had who was in person, who was a liar, the 21-year-old Indian guy, right? What made that a good time for him was that I made him feel like a god. I remember him feeling that way when he held me in his arms, and he actually, because I wanted him to kiss me first rather than me doing that to him. What made him feel great is he felt like a god kissing me. He felt like a god with an older girl on his lap kissing him in public, even though he's not used to kissing in public, but it was in a secluded area, right? And yes, there was a lot of issues with him that wasn't good, right? But when I think about that good time, it wasn't him that made it really, really good if you think about it. Like, I was there as well. And he felt so good in that moment because he felt like a god. I was playing on his ego, really. I was playing to his ego, making him feel so great about himself, making him know that he was doing a good job of kissing me, right? That played on his ego, right? But if I'd have turned around and said to him, oh, well, it was okay, no big deal. I've kissed like loads of guys before, been in relationships kissing guys for years, been to clubs kissing guys. It's no big deal. He wouldn't have had a good time. I was determined before he even showed up to make it a good. I remember making it a good time for him. Determined. Those were in my head. I wanted to make it a good time for him. And maybe that's part of my problem. It's like maybe that's because maybe that's a people pleaser side of me coming out. That I want the guy to have a great experience with me, right? And maybe that's where I'm going wrong, because instead I should be like, hang on a minute, you're not a good guy for me, so I'm not going to give you a good time with me. Right? He shouldn't be getting a good time from me. But I just feel like I want to make it good for the guy, especially as I like younger guys. I want them to feel good about themselves. But then it goes to their head, as I found out in the last relationship. And so maybe I'm not actually doing them the favor that I think I am. Maybe I'm not, maybe by telling them how good they are at something, it's not actually helping them, because then they go off being so big-headed that when they come across another girl, they're just so big-headed for her. And they're just like, oh, I'm the stud, I'm great, my ex said this, that, and the other about me. But if that woman doesn't praise them like I did, they'll probably be thinking, well, this isn't such a good time because my ex made me feel really great, and this new woman isn't saying this type of stuff. But they could like that. They could like the fact the woman doesn't say as much stuff, because it keeps them guessing about themselves. Does she like me or doesn't she? Maybe I'm just too outspoken, too authentic, and too like, yes, I do think you're doing a good job, and praising the person. Maybe I give them too much praise. But I'm a person who believes in praising someone as a form of encouragement and helping them to grow in confidence, because I feel that I want to help people in their lives, because I'm actually a helper as well. My name Sandra means helper, but maybe that's where I start to go wrong sometimes. I'm too helpful to the guy. I'm too caring. I'm too kind. I'm too nice. Right? Some guys, they don't go for really nice girls in the end. They'd rather have a girl that doesn't treat them as well, that doesn't praise them, that doesn't say they're amazing. They just don't say as much. So maybe I should try not saying as much. But you know what I mean? I like to give the guy a good time. So when I look back at and reflect about the good times and realize, because when I first split up with my ex, I was thinking about good times with him. I was thinking about him and the way he was making me feel good. And I forgot myself. I forgot I was part of that good equation. I forgot that all that I was doing. If I wasn't receptive to what he was doing and how he was acting in those good times, then it wouldn't have been a good time. So it was a good time, not just because of him, but because of me. And how much of the good time was actually because of you, and how much was actually because of your ex? Like I just gave him the example. Why was that kissing scenario very good for the 21-year-old? Because I made him feel like a god. I picked a secluded place because I told him I will not kiss him inside my home. So I picked the most secluded place I could for him, where he would feel most comfortable. I end up paying for the taxi down there, which I'm still not happy about even now. So I'm glad I'm not seeing him anymore. I injured my foot, right? That was when I broke my ankle. He was late from the train for half an hour, yet he's expected me to pay for the taxi to go to the quayside. It's like, I don't like that type of guy. But, you know, he's out of my life now. It's great, right? We weren't suitable for each other, right? The fact he didn't actually want to kiss me in public after that, well, he did a little bit, and then he's like, he didn't even want me to see him off at the train station, and he ended up popping back in my inbox on Facebook and lying and saying he's not on Facebook. He was on my channel saying he's not on Facebook and social media, but yeah, he pops up on my Facebook. Oh dear, these people lies. But anyway, wish him the best, like I said. So that was like the first guy, but that was a good timing because of me. And then the other guy, the second guy, the Pakistani guy I kissed, I met him in London. But again, that was me creating that good time. I don't even know how much he did create any good times for me. I think I would create a good time for him because I was the one who went to London. He didn't even have to leave where he lives. Like he had to leave where he lives in the area he lives, but he came and met me. Right, I had to actually go down, which I wasn't that happy about. I had to go downstairs to find him. Right, when I was the one with the broken ankle, I think I do too. I'm listening to myself thinking, you just do way too much for guys, Sandra. I'm very proactive. I'm a very go-getter and action taker. That's kind of a masculine part of my personality, I guess, coming out because I just can't be fluffing around, you know. And so and so yeah, so but with that guy, he ended up admitting he was lying to me, right? He told me a story about himself which is false. So I was the one who created that good time for him because I was the one who went to his city. I was kissing him on the train, and I know he told me that felt so good the way I kissed him in front of everyone and didn't care what people thought because I think he's experienced quite a lot of prejudice with being Pakistani in the UK and things have been really difficult for him. I'm not going to reveal his personal story. I still keep that a secret. But you know, the fact was he did lie and admit about his personal story, which I don't know exactly. You know, if someone lies, you don't know totally what the hell the actual truth is. But you know, I was the one who gave him a good time. I remember him saying, you know, that the way he felt was so good when he was with me. You know, because I kissed him in front of people and didn't care what people. Did I kiss him? Yeah, I kissed him on the tube, I think. I was holding his hand on the tube. Yeah. Um, I'm trying to think what happened now. It's such a long time ago. But anyway, you know, I was talking to him, paying him lots of attention. I know he told me that. He had a great time with me because of the attention I and all this type of thing, right? So it's me creating that good time. And then if we go to the third person, which was a Pakistani guy again, right? That was last year. And he told me that he's never felt as loved by anyone in his life as he did when he was with me. So it was me who created that great time for him. But he lied in the end. He said he could be without sex in a relationship and could be with an asexual person, me, i.e. me. But then he lied. And when he saw me in person partway through the day, he said, no, I couldn't because I would worry about what my family think and my community. So that's really heartbreaking for me. Right? But I gave him a good time. I know because he said that he had a good time. And he's never felt as loved in his whole life by someone as me. And that makes me think, like, why would he then not be in a relationship with me and end up with a girl who gives him less love than I did? This doesn't make sense. Why would you accept less for yourself? Because he cares more about what his family thinks and his culture and everything in society than he does about actually having someone make him feel so loved, that he'd rather obviously have a girl that doesn't love him as much, make him feel as loved, than have, you know, because society and community and family are more important to him. I don't get that logic really, because at the end of the day, your parents die, your family dies off, then there's just you. So you have to make the decision for yourself based on the person in front of you rather than what society and your family and everyone else thinks. Having said that, it's important really that a family do like the person you choose or can get on with them. Otherwise, it can cause you a lot of misery throughout your life. So if he'd have been honest in the first place, I wouldn't have had a date with him, obviously. And then with the last guy, You know, I did tell him a lot about his looks. The ex I split up with him, I told him how gorgeous he looked. Unfortunately, it went to his head. I don't know how all these things can go to guys' heads so much. I get people telling me, guys telling me I'm gorgeous and beautiful when I was on dating sites all the time for like 10 plus years. It doesn't go to my head to this in the it makes me feel good. I believe it because it's been so long and so many people, and it's very good for my self-confidence and self-esteem. But I don't get into a relationship with someone thinking I'm so much better looking than you because I've got like 10 years of guys telling me in my inbox of how gorgeous and beautiful and sexy and hot I am. Right? I don't go round going, "Oh, well, I'm much better looking than the guy I'm in a relationship with because I've got 10 years." I could have said that to my ex, well, I've got 10 years of online dating experience where I've had guys in my inbox telling me that for 10 years, right? Multiple guys from all different walks of life, predominantly guys in their 20s, actually, because that's mostly the guys I talk to, right? And some guys are really into like beautiful, bigger girls, right? They're looking for, like, they find them sexy and hot and attractive. I was surprised how many guys, for example, when I was active on Badoo, liked older women, but obviously they like them for more sexual reasons, like their big thighs and big boobs and big whatever, you know what I mean? Because bigger girls tend to have those things. And they're more experienced, and if a girl goes on top of a guy, you can imagine the guys love it. But with the big strong hips and all thighs and all this lot, right? There is people that like that type of thing. So I'm digressing here, but my point is that, you know what I mean? I said to my ex how gorgeous he was looking. In the end, he told me to stop saying that to him because it'll hurt me. It's like, why would you hurt someone for just someone saying? Because in the end, he said that he's better looking than me, which I told him he's not. You know, and I could have said, well, I've got 10 years experience that says otherwise. 10 years of guys in my inbox, different guys from multiple walks of life, right? 10 years. So I could have said that to him, but I didn't. I was just absolutely shocked that it went to his head like that. And it's like, oh, don't say I look gorgeous anymore because I'll hurt you more. I mean, that's just a horrible thing to say. But in the end, I should have just thought, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't usually be with a guy like that. I thought to myself, if I'd have known that he was like that in the dating before I got into a relationship, I wouldn't have been with that type of guy. I don't want to be with any type of guy who goes around thinking he's better looking than me, because I'm not in competition with the guy I'm in a relationship with. It's supposed to be a teamwork, not a competition. I don't go around comparing me as a woman to a guy, right? But I like a guy who equally thinks I'm as beautiful as he is or whatever, you know what I mean? Not who thinks he's better than me. It's just totally ridiculous. Um, but I contributed to that good time. I laughed with him. I smiled at him. I allowed him in my home. I don't usually allow guys in my home, which saved him a ton of money. Right? So, you know what I mean? I helped create good times by the way I kissed him and made him feel great when I was kissing him. You know? And there's things that I did to help contribute to the good times we had. Like when he first went out with me, he's like, "Oh, I'm not used to going out, but I had a really good time with you going out." And like he had fun, he enjoyed himself. So it's me who did that, me who made a huge contribution and impact in his life and gave him a good time. It's not all him. And so what I want you to do is look back in your past relationships, the ones that you're okay looking at, and think about how much you contributed to the good times that those exes had with you. Don't put all the emphasis on, oh, my ex was so great because he gave me all these good times, without thinking about what you did to make that a good time. Right? When I was first in the relationship with my last ex, right, he got, when we were in the hotel, because the first time we were together, we were in a hotel, not in my place, and he put candles all around the room, really, really romantic, like, you know. But then I dressed up in nice clothes. You could call them sexy clothes if you want. Clothes that I think I'm attractive in and do look sexy on me, but I just like wearing them because it was like a special occasion. And so, and he loved the clothes I was wearing. If I hadn't have worn those clothes, that wouldn't have been such a good time for him. Right? When I first met him at the hotel, I ran up to him. He said it was like out of some movie scene. It was so good, and he remembered that. It was such a great time he had with me. I was the one who did that. He didn't run up to me, I ran to him, right? So I have to remember my value and my worth in that last relationship was actually high because I was helping him to feel good about himself, and I was helping him to feel good and have good times with me. It wasn't all him. Do you know what I mean? So you have to look at the cold, hard truth is that it wasn't all your ex that gave you those good times. It was you who gave them a good time as well. The good time would never have happened unless you were compliant, if you like, unless you were cooperative, unless you were compromising, unless you were allowing, unless you were receiving and accepting, or you were giving them a good time. You were making them have a good time. You were setting up the scene for them to have a great time. Think about all the time, energy, and effort that you put in to making that a good time. Now, ask yourself if you were not doing all the things you were doing, if you were not doing, if you were not doing all the things you're doing, if you were not saying all the things you said, if you're not being all that you are, would that have been a good time for that person? If they'd have done that thing with someone else, would that have been such a good time for them? And I bet you the answer is no a lot of the time. I don't know another woman necessarily. There might be some women who do this, but I don't know, maybe not so much older girls, right? That actually run up to the guy like out of a romantic movie scene to greet them, in front of the hotel, like, like, or run for the bus to wave them goodbye. It happens in movies, but how much does that happen in real life, right? Sometimes you get someone waving someone goodbye, but how often do you get a girl actually running after the bus and waving? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? That helped to make that a special romantic movie scene for him, right? How often do you get a girl that's like so into the guy, she's like wanting to spend time with him? They can get quite a few women like that, but you can also get women that are indifferent and don't really care. How often do you get women prioritize guys? Like I was video calling him, I was prioritizing him, giving him a lot of my time, quality time, right? So in the end, he didn't appreciate that, but in the beginning, he seemed to like that, because I was giving him a lot of attention. The trouble is, people then take the attention for granted. And, maybe he was like getting more tired because he was spending more time video calling me back, with me as well, but instead of saying, oh, can we like, like these are the best times, like, and be there on time, it wasn't effective communication from him in the end, right? And anyway, but when we think about the good times, that's what I mean. I want you to think about the good times as in what part you played in those good times. And if that person hadn't been with you, those good times wouldn't have existed in their life, in the timeline, in life itself, because it needed you to make those good times happen. It needed you specifically in that moment, in that time, in that person's life to make that a good time. Think about that. So when you are focusing on them and thinking, oh, it was such a good time I had with them, how much of it was them instigating the good time? How much of it was you? How much of it was you being receptive to what they were saying, doing, or being with you? And when we start to look at this, we can raise our self-worth and self-esteem. We can think, damn, I was good to them. I was loving on them. I was warm with them, unless you weren't, of course. I was kind to them. I was caring to them. I was thinking about their needs. Maybe you were even putting their needs before your own, which is debatable where you should do that. But you know what I mean? Like, think about what you contributed to that relationship. Think about the good times you contributed. Think about what they're missing by not being with you. Just think about that. They might be very lonely without you. They might be trying to get someone else to fill your shoes because of the great good time that you gave them that they haven't been able to achieve since they split up with you. Their life may be now boring without you. Their life may be dull without you. And maybe they once took you for granted, thinking, oh, yeah, I'm now a bit tired of this person in my life. And, but actually, when you've left their life, they're like, oh, shit. I'm now bored with my life. My life's uninteresting, right? Obviously, if your life's boring and uninteresting without someone, you need to go out and make it better for yourself, right? So it's not boring and uninteresting. But if you think you were the person who actually did bring joy into their life, did bring spark in their life, did bring excitement in their life, and now they've not got you, and the good times were actually because of you, instigated by you, especially if you instigated it, then just think what the hell they're missing out on. And think, my God, now I can put all that time, energy, and effort that I gave to someone else to give them a good time, to give myself a damn good time, to go out and socialize with other people and allow other people to experience a good time with me. Think about that. I want you to think about that. What can you do today or tomorrow, this week, next week, to give other people that good time with you? Because you are the good time creator, not them. Maybe they were, but you can flip the script around to thinking you were the good time creator, not them. Or just accept that they may have been a good time creator in that time, but you were a good reciprocant. You were a warm and kind and caring and loving person that now they're not getting that time, attention, and effort from anymore. You are the one who is pouring that love into them that they don't have anymore. You are the one who is saying how beautiful they are, how gorgeous they look, that they don't have anymore. You are the one giving them excitement and pleasure that they don't have anymore. So think of all the good times that they're missing out on by not being with you. Just think about it. I didn't even think about it this way until actually today. I was thinking, it just popped in my head because I'm very spiritual. It popped in my head. I've got to do this video. And the more I've done this live stream video organically, because I'm all raw and real and authentic, the more I see what I did for all these guys. The more I see how I gave them good times. All these guys I've spoken about tonight, look at all the good times I gave them. This is great for my self-confidence, my self-esteem, and my self-worth. Because these guys wouldn't have had these experiences without me. I think I approached the majority of these guys as well on Facebook dating, right? I can't remember who. I know I approached the last guy I was actually in a relationship with, and I think the 21-year-old approached me, I think. And the other two I can't actually remember. But anyway, who approached who, like, I still had to keep the conversation going, and I think it was me who probably did some of the instigating of video calls and stuff like that. Because I'd rather speak to a person on video call than just be texting to see what they're actually like. So we don't waste as much time, if you know what I mean. But it's still good to receive text as well, because you can tell a lot by someone and what they write in text. But you see what I mean? We need to flip the script. So instead of thinking our ex gave us all these good times, we actually have to turn it on us and think, why did they have a good time? Because of us. What are they missing out on because of us? How did we create a good time for that person? And what are they missing now because they let us go or didn't treat us well? Just think about that for a minute. Just soak that in. Soak that wonderful feeling up of the good time you gave them. Because when you soak the feeling up of you giving them a good time, makes you feel whole and like they're incomplete without you. It makes you feel like, wow, look at what I did for that person. And look at what they're missing out on. Oh my God, do they even realize what they're missing out on? Probably not, because someone who doesn't see your worth and value is not going to value you. I'll repeat, someone who does not see your worth and value is not going to value you. So we don't look at the past and getting back with them. We just revel, if you like, and sit back and think, how many good times did we create for them? And how much loss are they going to feel because we are not there in their lives anymore, contributing to a good time with them? or being the instigator of that good time, or the good receiver of that good time to make it a good time with them, right? Just think about your part in their past and how good you made them feel, and how the good times were actually because they were with you specifically. Because that should make you feel great about the good times then, but it should focus it on you, not on them giving you a good time, but on you being the good time person. And this is great. Just soak it up. Can you feel the energy of that? Can you feel it? Say it with me. I was the instigator of the good time, or I was the receiver of that good time, or I contributed wholeheartedly to making it such a good time with them, or I gave them the time of their life. And list the reasons why. I was warm, I was kind, I was caring, I was loving, I was pouring love into them. And in a world that is very chaotic and there's a lot of disharmony and negativity, just think about all the love and warmth and kindness and caringness you are pouring into them. And if they were giving you a good time and you were very receptive and thankful, think of all that. Think of all the warmth that you gave them back, receiving what they were giving you and being grateful and thankful for it, when they could do lots of things in life for other people and they never even get a thank you. They never even get someone enjoying it. They never even get anyone having pleasure from what they've given. They don't have good receivers in their life. They don't have people who are warm-hearted and can actually handle being given something and can be grateful and thankful for it. Just imagine some of these people never even get a thanks for what they do in life. And if you were there thanking them, saying, I really appreciate you doing this for me. That's so sweet. That's so kind of you. Ah, they were lucky to have you saying that to them. They were lucky that you valued their worth at the time and respected them enough to say that, even if they didn't reciprocate that back in the end, or even if they didn't treat you well in the end. They were damn well lucky to have that time with you. Just think about how good you were and what good times you gave them, and how much they're going to miss that with you. They might be sat there now on their bed crying that they missed out with you. That might not be what they're showing to their guy friends at work or whatever. They might be like, oh yeah, she's giving me a headache, I'm not interested. But they go back home and they're lonely and they're like thinking, shit, I feel so bored now. I feel so like disinterested in life. I'm just going through with emotions. I thought this girl was going to be she was like my dream girl. We're going to spend the rest of our lives together, but now we're not, you know what I mean? And it's like, I miss the times with her. I miss her warmth. I miss her caringness. I miss her love. Do you know what I mean? Like, just think about that for a minute. Think about all the good times they're missing out on by not being with you, and you specifically. Especially if you're a good receiver, you're a good praiser, you're good at helping people see the best qualities in themselves, you're good at praising and making people feel good about themselves. Just think that's all gone because you're not there. They might have someone else now, but is that someone else really going to be saying that type of stuff to them? Right? Some women are too afraid to tell a guy that he's good looking. Some women are too afraid to be a good receiver with the guy. Some women would not play along with guys' things they do. Some women wouldn't even be in that scenario in the first place, right? Which might be good, very good for them if it didn't turn out well. But I want you to now focus on yourself. Like I said, put the attention on you. Why did that person have a good time with you? What did you do that was good? What did you do that gave them a good time? Just bask in this energy. Can you feel the energy? Can you feel the warmth within your body and your soul of how well you treat that person? If you treated that person well, if you gave them a good time because you received what they were doing with open arms and with gratitude and thankfulness and appreciation. Maybe they don't get that at home. Maybe they don't get that from their work colleagues. Maybe they don't get that from their family or extended family, but you gave that to them. Do you know what it's like to get praise from someone when you're not used to getting it? Do you know what it's like to get appreciation? Do you know what it's like to get thanked? Do you know what it's like to feel that when you haven't got that in your life? It feels damn good. And if you did that for the person, then they didn't appreciate you in the end and you left, they will be a hole in their life. There will be some part of their life they'll be thinking, I'm not feeling special anymore. I'm not feeling appreciated. Hang on a minute, I don't get any thanks from people. My ex used to thank me. My ex used to appreciate me. My ex used to make me feel special. I don't have that anymore. I don't have someone saying how good looking I am anymore. I don't have someone wanting to kiss me because they're so attracted to me anymore. I don't have someone giving me a good date time. I don't have someone wanting to go out in public with me because they're proud to be seen with me for who I am. I don't have that anymore. So just think of all the good times they're missing by not being with you. Think of all the good times you gave them. And that should fill your heart with joy. So instead of feeling lonely without them, you should be proud of yourself and all the joy that you gave to them. And we must feel sad for them because they're missing out now. They're missing out on all that joy they could be having with you because they either chose to let you go or they treated you badly, so you had to go, or they lost attraction for you, or they didn't appreciate you or value you. Whatever, however it ended, right? You've got to look within yourself and feel how good you were if you were the person who was doing and receiving and being good for them. Right? So just think about it. If you didn't change your behavior, if you didn't change your attitude, if you're always warm, kind, and caring, being warm, kind, and caring does not mean not advocating for your needs and sticking up for yourself, right? There's a difference. You can be warm, kind, caring, but you can still say, hang on a minute, this is not acceptable behavior. Doesn't make me feel good. I'm not feeling good now, right? That you can still be a kind, caring person, but advocate for your needs. And say to someone when they're not treating you well. You can be both. You should be both, right? Otherwise, you end up being a doormat. And we don't want that, right? So, and if you have the guts and courage and bravery to actually tell them what you need, that is actually really good communication skills in a relationship. They should be thanking you for, rather than the woman that builds up resentment for, or whatever gender it is, builds up resentment for them for years, doesn't bother saying her needs, and then he finds out she's having an affair with someone else and dumps him. I mean, you're giving him a chance to put things right? If he doesn't listen to you, or you just simply can't match those needs, then you're not right together, are you? So there we go. He lucked out. So remember the good times you gave that guy. And I'm sure if you gave him fantastic good times, or you were receptive and part of the good times he gave you, you were a huge part of that, which you would have been, then I'm sure he's going to miss you a lot, even if he doesn't say he's going to, even if he pretends to put up this facade and this wall, especially if it's an avoider. Oh, I'm not interested. Blah, blah, blah. He's going to miss you, right? He's going to miss you. There's a reason why he did want to be favored by you. There's a reason why he wanted to be praised by you. There's a reason why he wanted you. Maybe it was for his own selfish means, but he specifically chose you. Like I said, probably because you were kind and caring, empathetic and sympathetic. Abusers and narcissists prey on this. But it doesn't mean to say that you should change yourself and become a horrible person yourself just because they didn't treat you well. If you're kind, caring, loving person, these are the qualities that are good traits that a good person will want to be in a relationship with eventually. Not the person who's not good, the person who is casual with someone's heart, the person who plays with someone's heart, the person who plays games, a person who puts on a show and a facade just to get what they want out of someone for their own selfish means, right? This is not the type of person you want to be. So if you've had someone doing you wrong, being bad to you, abusive, narcissistic, you could choose to become like them. But I would urge you to never become like them. Choose the good side. Don't choose the Darth Vader dark side. Choose the good side every single time. I haven't been treated very well by guys, right? Am I perfect? No. Am I doing work on myself? Yes. But I refuse to go over to the dark side. I'm not going to become unkind and uncaring and unempathetic and unsympathetic just because some guys may have treated me that way. Right? There's a lack of love in this world. There's a shortage of good, kind, caring people in this world. And the more we have these people who are good, kind, caring people lighting up the world, the better. Because there's less of us, it means we need to shine our light even brighter and bigger. And if that person was abusive, narcissistic, put us down, belittled us, made us feel shit about ourselves, that's on them. It's not on us. They have to live with that for the rest of their life, to their grave. And maybe they're not affected. Maybe they are just really a narcissist. Or they have such narcissistic traits and they're so big-headed they don't give a shit about anyone but themselves. There are some genuine people out there that do actually have pleasure in hurting other people. Believe it or not, they do. They like hurting others. They get a kick out of it. It gives them a adrenaline boost or whatever it does. It's power and control. And they love it. It boosts that. It boosts them up. It's like, it's like kryptonite for other people and a boost of whatever. Sugar rush to their head, they get pleasure out of it. I'm telling you, this is the truth, right? Because some people are like, oh no, not people aren't born evil. There's good wherever there's good in the world, there's going to be evil in the world. Whereas there's bad, there's good. It's everyone. Does it mean everything's bad about someone? No, I've said that narcissists and abuse even can give you good times. They can treat you good sometimes. They can give you some good times. They can give you amazing times because that keeps you hooked on them. Right? But we have to face the reality of the situation that some people just haven't got good character traits for us, and they haven't got good character traits to be in a relationship with. They might have great looks, but if they're not kind and they're not caring and they're not empathetic and sympathetic and they're not loving and they're not thinking about you and thinking about your needs and they're not caring enough about you, they're not good for you. And they have work to do on themselves. And until they realize that they contribute to part of the problem in relationships, they're not going to get very far in their life, right? It's up to us to work on ourselves. It's not up to us to do the work for them. Then they need to do on themselves, right? So always remember, like I said, to use the past good times for reflection, but reflect on how much of those good times you gave them, how much happiness you contributed to their life at the time, how much you laughed at their jokes, how much you smiled at them, how much you gave warmth to them, how much you cuddled them and kissed them that made them feel like they're the most beautiful person in the world, how much you praised them. Think about how much was actually you giving them good time. And so when you look back at those good times, think about it. Hi, Heather, lots of love to you. Do you see how we flip the script here? To realize that you're the one giving the good time to them or receiving the good time from them to make it a good time. Do you see how we've flipped the script? I hope you've enjoyed this live stream. And going back to why it's not good to think about the good times with an ex is, in order to get over heartache and heartbreak, we do need to be also focusing on the bad times with them. The way they treat us badly, the way they manipulated or controlled us, if they did, the way they didn't respect us, the way they didn't value us or our time, the way in which they put us down or belittled us, if they did. If they did any of these things, then you need to give yourself these as reasons why you're not together, why there's no point in hankering after a person that didn't treat you as well as you deserve to be treated. Why it's important to look at these things in the cold hard light of day is because if we flip the script on the good times and don't focus on our ex giving those good times to us, but on the fact that we contributed to the good times with them, we maybe even be the instigator of those good times as well as the receiver of the what they were doing or being or saying to us to make those times good, right? That puts us in a more worthy position within ourselves. It raises our self-esteem and self-worth. And then if we look at if they were bad to us, not every relationship ends badly, but if they were bad to us, we can focus on the bad things, the way those things made us feel bad about ourselves, in order to understand why we're not with that person anymore, why we must never be in a relationship with that person ever again. Do some people change? A few people change, but usually they change in a relationship with someone else, not by getting back with you. Right? Because they have to change over the time with themselves to realize that they are part of the problem. That if they want a happier life, they have to change themselves and their behavior to a certain extent, right? Or to a lot of extent, depending what their issues are and difficulties. Right? So we must always think about all the good times that we gave them, all the ways we were good to them, instead of keeping them on a pedestal like we no doubt put them on in the relationship. And then we need to focus on not the good times, but the bad times, the way they made us feel shit about ourselves, the way they made us feel absolute crap, excuse my language, the way they made us feel down about ourselves, the way we didn't feel good in the end. We need to use those as a reason why we don't get back with that person. We're not in a relationship with them anymore, why we block them out of our lives and where they're no good to be in our future. But because we deserve someone better who will treat us with more respect, time, care, and attention, who wants the same things as us and who wants to have good times with us and appreciate those good times. A person doesn't deserve to have any more good times with you. They've had their chance. It's up to you to take those good times and give them to another person. Give them to yourself in the meantime, though. All those good times you gave to someone else, give them to yourself, I was going to say. Take yourself out on dates. Dress up for you. Laugh with yourself. Watch a funny movie. Go to the theatre. Watch a great performance, which you actually know is a performance, not a performance someone's putting on just to hook you into a relationship. Go and to an actual stand-up comedy show if you want. Go and meet a friend if you want. Make them smile and laugh. Make them have a good time with you. Go where your good time is appreciated, valued and respected and wanted and needed, and people like being around you. Take all that good energy and good times you gave to that other person and was reciprocating the good times back, or receiving the good times back, and go and give that to someone else who deserves it. You deserve it. You deserve to laugh with yourself. You deserve to smile with yourself. You deserve all that praise you gave to them. You deserve to say, I look good. I look beautiful. I'm amazing. I feel wonderful being with me. I feel so good being with me. I feel incredible. I'm having a great time on my own. I'm having a great time being with me in my essence and my beauty. I'm having a great time feeling my own warmth and compassion for myself. I'm having a great time self-loving on me. I'm having a great time spending money on myself. I'm having great times buying myself the biggest birthday gift. I'm having a great time taking myself out for my birthday for the whole week, not just a day. I'm enjoying myself. I'm loving Christmas because I'm buying myself gifts. Whatever time of year it is when you're watching this. I'm recording this in June, live. But, you need to put the focus back on you and how good you gave a good time to someone else you can give to yourself. Your good times can be friggin' amazing with yourself. Just imagine how damn lucky they were to experience the good times with you. So remember, when you're thinking about the good times with your ex, flip the script and just think what position you held with those good times. How much you were creating those good times for them. How much you were receptive to their good times, to be a good receiver of their good time, to make it a good time. If someone gives to you and they're doing something, but you're not enjoying it, you're not having a good time, they're not going to have a good time. If you're like, oh, I'm not interested in that. Like, why are you doing that? It turns me off. It's not going to be a good time for them, is it? They need a receiver. Every gift giver needs a receiver. A good receiver will make a gift giver feel good, right? If you receive their gift and like, oh my God, this is an amazing gift, you'll receive it. If you're receiving it, sorry, they'll think it, and you're like, oh my God, it's a great gift, which might be the gift of time. Then the giver will be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This person's receptive to me. Right? So it takes receptiveness in a relationship and acceptance of what a giver's giving to you to make that situation feel good. Remember this. Wherever there's a giver, there needs to be a receiver. The greater and better the gift, if you like, the greater and better the receiver is a match made in heaven. Although you don't have to give much for that person to maybe still be a great receiver. So think about this. Think about how good you made that other person feel and be proud of that if you did. Be proud of how well you reciprocated something as well. So if someone's having a good time with you, they're laughing and joking, you're laughing and joking back, you're giving them something called reciprocity, which is basically reflecting back what they're giving to you. If they're laughing and joking with you, you're laughing and joking with them, this feels good. It bonds you. It makes you feel great. That's why it's good if you've got someone in a relationship with you and you're as enthusiastic to see them as they are to see you. When two people are enthusiastic to see each other, that creates a good time automatically. When someone's bored of someone and disinterested in someone, it's not going to create a good time because that person is giving out bad vibes and negative vibes towards that person. And that person's just receiving those negative vibes and they're like, what the hell's going on? I'm not feeling good. This isn't a good time. Neither is having a good time. Right? So just think about this. It takes two people to have a good time. Stop putting your ex on a pedestal. Stop thinking they were the ones who gave you a good time and great time, and start thinking about how many good times you gave them. How many good times you gave them. How much of their life was better because of you. And how much they're losing now because you're not with them anymore. They're missing out. If you're a good person, they're missing out. Right? Remember that. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful, useful, insightful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to watch this all the way through from the beginning if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. I cover educational videos, lifestyle videos on this channel, and do a lot of vlogs so you can be sure that whatever type of asexual you are, there's something for everyone on this channel. I cover all the asexual spectrum. And even if you're not asexual, as long as you're respectful, you're welcome here. Because relationships are a universal thing. Love is a universal thing. Love comes in many different shapes and sizes. And so, with respect, you know, anyone can watch this channel and get some benefit from it. And I hope you have. Don't forget, if you want to know more about asexuality, Diary Confessions of a Romantic Asexual, 78 Life Lessons to Asexual Life, and Asexual Perspectives are on Amazon. These are best sellers. So you're getting the best advice, education from the best seller, me. Okay, so you can choose to take my advice or not. It's up to you. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's given you some value anyway. Thank you, Heather, for being here. Thank you, Daria, for being here, as always. And remember, you are amazing and you're acing. Lots of love. Take care. See you soon in the next video live stream. Bye.